This conference will now be recorded.
So cost centers will be enabled by going to the F11. So here under the accounting features, you will be having option as enable cost centers as yes. So enable this option as yes and accept it. So you can go to the creation of masters, create. So under the accounting masters, you will be having an option called cost center. So you can go to the cost center option and you can be able to create it. So in case if you want to give the cost details based on multi-layer information. So for example, I may be having a sales department. So if I want to calculate the expenses or income occurred through this particular department on the whole, in that case I can be able to create it as a cost center. But in case if I want to go with layer by layer information, that is in the sales department, so how much cost is happening, how much income I am able to gain it through the salesperson 1 and salesperson 2, if I want to specify in detail, in such scenario we can be able to use one more feature related to cost center. So by going to the option as show more, you will be able to get a new option called cost category. Hope everyone understood what is the difference between the cost center and in what situation we are going to use with cost category. So please type it as yes in case if you have understood with the concept, so that we can go ahead and we can start with the cost category creation and cost centers creations. So type it as yes if you have understood. Okay, thank you for your responses. So let's see how to create with cost category. So by defaultly, you can make a note by default in Tally, the cost category, there will be one predefined cost category, so which is called as a primary cost category, which can be taken as a general cost category. So apart from that, if you want to create it any extra cost category, you can be able to go for create new option. Now, in the cost category, let's create it as sales department. So here we have two options, allocate revenue items and allocate non-revenue items. So when it is set as allocate revenue items, so what all the things comes under the revenue option means, so it will be expenses, incomes, purchase and sales. So these are called as the revenue items. So whenever you are going to use the cost category and cost centers, it will be enabled in respective related grouped ledgers automatically. So in case if you want to enable the option related to cost category or cost center for other than the revenue items, apart from these four groups, it could be any other group. So in that case, you can be enabled with allocate non-revenue items as yes. So the cost centers option will be appeared while passing the transaction when we use those particular grouped ledgers. Okay. Now let's go with only revenue items option. So we will make only allocate revenue items as yes, and non-revenue items we will keep it as no, and we will accept the screen. So one department we created as a sales department, the other department we will create it as admin department. Accepted. So we created two cost categories, that is the sales department and admin department. So now next is we will create with the cost centers. So when I'm going to create the cost centers, it is mandatory that I'm supposed to specify that it relates to which cost category. So let me take for example as admin department. So in admin department, I will be dividing into two parts. One is front office administration and another one is the back office administration. Okay. So let me take it as FDA. So let it be under primary, but category should be taken properly. So make sure you are going to select with proper category and you are going to create the cost centers under respective relevant cost categories. Accepted. In the same admin department, I'm going to create one more cost center as BDA, that is a back office department. Accepted. Then next, we will create it with sales department. So I'll create it as sales department one, sorry, salesman one. In case if you want to specify the person's name, you can be able to specify the name. And salesman 2. So like this, you can be able to create with the cost category with the cost centers. So now after creation of this, so the next thing is we are going to create the relevant ledgers for passing the transactions. So either I can be able to create it at the initial stage itself before passing the transaction, or I can be able to create it while passing the transactions. So let me go to the vouchers and let me pass the transactions. So let me go to F9 purchase. Let me pass the transaction in the accounting invoice mode. So let me take the party name. So I'll create a party by using Alt C, or I can be able to use the create option on the right hand side. So let me create the company. So I'm going to buy some stationery. So I'm going to create a company in the name as Mark Company Limited under sundry debtor, sorry, creditors. So maintain balances bill by bill will be as yes and accept the screen. So did we found with the option related to cost center? No. So in such scenario, we will press F12. So here you will be having an option under general details as apply cost centers for ledgers. Make it as yes and accept it. So you can see cost centers are applicable. Here it has taken as by default as no. So I'll accept the screen. So as I said, we have enabled with only revenue items option. So revenue items, it is only related to purchase, sales, then income and expenses ledgers. So now let me create with purchase account. If it is already created, you can go to the purchase account which is already created. In case if you want to show instead of purchases, if you want to show it as an expenses, so you can be able to create the expense ledger. So let me take it as office expenses. Under direct expenses, let me take it as direct expenses or indirect expenses also. So let us take it as indirect expenses. So here you can see by default the cost centers are applicable. It is set as yes because it is a revenue item. It will be enabled by default. Let me make GST as no. As of now, we'll accept it. So we'll give the value for rupees 20,000. So once after selecting the expenses ledger and giving the amount, and we will be getting the bill-wise details. So in this, we are going to select with new reference. So let me take with the reference name and I'll just enter with value. So now here I'm supposed to get this option of specifying that this expenses 20,000 rupees I have spent it for admin department. So I'm supposed to get this screen called cost center screen, cost center allocation screen. So till now I didn't find that screen options. Now if I press enter, it will take to the accept screen. So now I'm passing the entry in the which mode. Can anyone let me know that presently the purchase entry it is passed in which mode? So there are three modes in purchase, sales, debit note and credit note. Yesterday I have spoke about that. So that is accounting voucher mode or double entry mode, accounting invoice mode and item invoice mode. So out of these three, so we are there in which mode? Can anyone try to guess it? Accounting invoice, very good. So we are past the entry in the accounting invoice mode. We are not able to get the cost center allocation screen. The same entry I will turn into voucher mode. The shortcut key to change the mode is Control H. So I'll press Control H and I'll change it to voucher mode. So after selecting the references and the expenses ledger, you can be able to see the cost allocation screen, which is not going to be shown in your purchase entry on in the invoice mode. So either you pass the entry in the accounting invoice or item invoice. So cost center. So please make a note on this. Cost center will not be applicable or cost center allocation screen. So this will be better. Cost center allocation screen will not be available in the invoice mode, but appears in voucher mode while passing purchase transactions. So this is applicable only for purchase transactions. Okay. So whereas cost center allocation screen is available for all the modes in the sales transactions. So please make a note on this. So please make a note on this so that you can be able to find it, you are there in which screen, so whether the cost allocation screen is going to be appeared or not. Okay, so we can be able to pass the transaction. Now we should select the cost category which is applicable on this transaction. So for this it is admin department. So let me take it, for example, for back office department. So I may spend it out of this 20,000 at 12,000 rupees, and for the front office I may spend it remaining 8,000. So it is the total cost of this expenses for the admin department was 20,000. In that I can be able to bifurcate it in case if it is applicable. Okay, so I can be able to give with this values and accept it. So this is how you are going to specify the cost center information while passing the transaction. Either you can specify the whole value for one particular cost center or for the multiple cost center, but you are supposed to take only particular in one entry. You can be able to specify the value related to one particular cost category and its cost centers. So if you have the value for the sales department also, then you are supposed to pass the transaction separately for that. Okay, so this is how we are going to pass the transaction through purchase entry with the cost center allocation screen. So let's pass the sales entry F8. So let me pass it in accounting invoice only. Let's check it out. So do we find it or not? So let us assume that we are doing a cash sales. So let me take it as sales accounts, and let's assume it there is a 1 lakh rupees of sales has happened. So immediately after selecting the value, entering the value, you'll be able to get this cost center screen. So here either you can specify the whole value for one cost center, or you can bifurcate the value for the another cost center. So let me take it as 75,000 was contributed by salesman 1 and 25,000 remaining was been contributed by salesman 2. Accepted. So this is how you can be able to specify the cost centers and cost categories while passing the transactions. Now, where do we check the report? Means either we can come to the gateway of Tally, go to the display, then statement of accounts. So here you have a report called cost centers. So here you can be able to see the report based on the cost category wise or cost center wise or ledger wise or group wise. So please have a look on all these options. You can see this order of the report, cost center related report, so that you may get a question that, so what all the options you will be able to find it in the cost center report. So it will be category summary, cost center breakup, ledger breakup, and group breakup. So let's check it out, the report based on the cost category. So here you can be able to see the total amount on the category wise. Below that it has been specified for which cost center how much value has been given with. In case if you want to check it out individually with cost centers wise, you can check it out over here. Press Alt F1 for the detailed report. So hope you people understood with this concept. So in case of any doubt, please clarify it then and there itself. If you understood with the concept, please type it as move on so that we can go for the next concept. Okay, thank you for the responses. Okay, so the next concept we will see with TDS. So have you heard about this word TDS? Can anyone try to expand what is TDS? Tax deducted at source. Very good. So tax deducted at source. When do the TDS will be calculated? In what situation? So if you have any idea, you can plus, you can enter. In what situation the TDS will be calculated? Okay. So TDS will be deducted on the source of income of other person. Okay. So TDS is a part of income tax. So there are certain sections so which are applicable on deducting the TDS. Okay. So commonly TDS will be deducted at the time of the payment of expenses. TDS will be deducted at the time of expenses. So TDS can be divided into two parts. So one is TDS on salary, TDS other than salary. So whatever we are going to learn in the TDS concept now, it will be on TDS other than salary. So what are the other types of expenses? We are going to do it on that expenses we are going to deduct the TDS. So it is not applicable. There may be a question in your exam that is that TDS will be deducted on all the expenses you make it in your business. No, TDS will not be deducted on all the expenses. TDS will be deducted on those type of expenses which are being specified as per the Income Tax Act 1961. So there are certain sections. Okay. So can anyone try to provide me any one of the sections which you are aware that the TDS is deducted on that particular type apart from salary? So take a minute of time and let me know. So if you want to get confirmed, you can be able to just type it over here as TDS rates. So you can refer it with the cleartax.com or TDS man or tax man, tax guru. So these are the some of the references which you can be able to refer with. Okay, these are the certain sections which are applicable to deduct the TDS. So as I said, TDS it is being divided into two parts. One is TDS on salary, so that is a section of 192 and 192A. So rest of the other sections are there, so which are related to 193 and 194 and subsections of all the 194. So you can find it any subsections related to TDS deduction. So we are going to discuss on a few of the sections which are very much common, which is going to be implemented or which is common in while doing any type of business. So such sections we are going to refer it. Okay. So let me take the example of such sections. So for example, that is 194C. So you can be able to find the sections over here. So this is the common sections what you are going to see it 194C payment to contractor or subcontractors. Okay. So here whenever you are going to calculate the income tax related taxes, that is either it could be a TDS or it could be a TCS. Even TCS also it is a part of income tax, or when you are going to calculate with the income tax part also. So it will be again it will be categorized into two categories. One is whether the person is related to individual or HUF, whether he has been registered himself as an individual or HUF. So or others will be related to company or any other type of categories. Okay. So the percentages are varied when it is going to be individually or HUF. So they are both are considered as the same. So can I know what does HUF means? Hindu undivided family, yes. So a family business which has been run by the family. So even that also it is considered as an individuals only or others. Others is nothing but the company or any other type of business. It could be a partnership or anything else. Okay. So they are coming under the others options. So the percentage will be varied in certain sections. Some sections it will be common with both. Okay. So we will be seeing with 194C. Then very common thing is 194I. Okay. So for the first one is rent on plant and machinery, it will be 2%, and for the land and buildings, it is going to be 10%. Respectively. Okay. So these are the common things which we can be able to discuss on the same. So let us go back to the tally and try to enable with TDS option in tally. Okay. So now how to enable TDS in tally? So press F11. Under taxation, you can enable with TDS. I'll disable with GST. I'll enable with TDS option as yes. So here you can be able to see the option as tax TAN registration number. TAN registration number is the number what you are going to get it at the time of when you apply it. So there will be a record in the respective department with the certain number. So you can be able to give with that registration number. It could be anything. The next, the very important thing. So whenever you are going to have a authority of collecting or deducting the tax from any opposite party, so you should be able to have a right, that is nothing but you should have a authorized TAN number. So here the TAN number is nothing but the tax deduction and collection account number. So the government department will come to know that how much did you deduct it and how much did you collect it from the other person. So the TAN number will have a the relevant type of format. Okay. So is that everyone are having a PAN card with you all? Do you have a PAN card with you people? So I'm asking about PAN. Do everyone hold with a PAN number? Good. So what is the full form of PAN? Permanent account number. Very good. So permanent account number or PAN number, why it is important? What is the behavior means? So whenever you are going to do any transactions through the bank, so every bank, even though if you have a 10 bank accounts, and every bank account will be opened only through your permanent account number. So that means it will be linked with your all the bank accounts with one common permanent account number or the PAN number. So whenever there is a transaction happened in anywhere in any of the banks, so the department, the income tax department will be able to know what is that transaction is all about. Okay. So it will talk about your individual transactions through the bank. Whereas TAN, it will show the information, how much did you collect the tax, how much did you deduct the tax from any other opposite party. Okay. So now, as you people have a PAN number, everyone holds with a PAN. So can I know what is the format of that PAN number you hold it? So this is the format of an PAN number. 5 alphabets, 4 numbers, and 1 alphabet. Okay. So the example is, so it will be similar to this. Okay. So it will be always the PAN number will be in this format only. The 5 alphabets, 4 numbers, and 1 alphabet. Similarly, TAN also has its format. So this is the TAN format. 4 alphabets, 5 numbers, and 1 alphabet. So example, so this could be, sorry, yes. So this could be the TAN format. Okay. So 5 alphabet, 4 numbers, and 1 alphabet is for PAN, and 4 alphabet, 5 numbers, and 1 alphabet is TAN format. Okay. So which is very important whenever any person is going to collect the tax means, so that person should have this relevant TAN format. Okay. So let us give that number. The next, as we know that there are two types of people, the categories, the deductor type. So the person, there will be two types of people will be there in the TDS concept. So one is deductor, the person who deducts the TDS, and the person to whom we deduct is called as a deductee. Deductor who deducts, deductee to whom we deduct. Okay. So now we are going to file the transactions as a deductor. So we are going to select the deductor type. So let me assume it as company. The next, the deductor branch or division. So in which branch or division have you been applied and you got the TAN number? So that area or the division name you should be able to give it. So let me give it as South Division example. Then every company or the organization should have one particular person who is going to be in charge of taking care of all this tax related queries. Okay, so the tax managers or tax executive or tax administrator. So there will be a one fixed person who will be taking care of all this transactions related to tax, and he will be the mediator, the communicator between the company and the government department. So let me make this option as yes, and we can be able to provide all the information over here about that person with the PAN number. So tomorrow, if there is any kind of illegal transactions or any kind of query raises, so he will be the first party to be get caught in. So you are going to specify that person's name and his contact details with the PAN number. The next thing is ignore IT exemption limit. So as you all know that, so income tax will be calculated based on the tax slabs. So do you want to follow the tax slab or do you want to ignore that? Do you have to follow the tax slab or do you have to ignore the tax slab which has been specified as per the government norms? So always keep this option as no. So we have to follow with the exemption limit. And with that, there is also some of the categories, the nature of payments for which we are going to have some limitations up to the value we are supposed to not to deduct it, that is the exemption limit. So If it is more than that exemption limit, then only we are supposed to deduct it. So do you want to follow with such type of exemptions or not? You can keep this option as no to follow, make it as yes when you do not follow it. Okay. The next, I'll keep it as no, I want to follow with exemption limits. The next, activate TDS for stock items. As of now, TDS is deducted only on the expenses types, not on the stock items. So now we will keep it as no. Hope you people were able to understand with all these options for enabling the TDS. So if you have understood, if there is no doubt, you can type it as yes. If there is any doubt, you can raise your questions. If you have understood, okay. Thank you for the response. So we will accept the screen, Control A, Control A. So the next part, so first part we have enabled with TDS. The second part is creation of TDS masters. So what all the things are required to create with which we use it for passing a transaction masters, we are supposed to create it. So let's go to the create option. The very first thing you have to create with this, we have to create with TDS nature of payments. So go to the TDS nature of payments. So here we are supposed to specify that particular nature of payment which we are doing with and deducting the TDS at that particular type of transaction you are doing with. So let me take it. So it is payment to contractor. So the section is 194C. So payment code, it will be 94C. So exempt with 1, the first number, the remaining will remain as a payment code. So remittance code, let's ignore it. The next, rate for individuals or HUF. So what is that percentage we are supposed to apply with? So as per the information what we have gathered, it is for the individual or HUF. If the contractor belongs to individual or HUF, then we are supposed to deduct at 1%. So it says with PAN. Okay. So I'll explain you while creating the other masters. So with PAN it is 1%. And if it is other deductive types, that is nothing but company or any other type of person. So then I'm supposed to deduct at 2%. Now, there is an exemption limit given by the government, the department, that in case if we are going to have the exemption, it is nothing but up to the value. So if you are going to bill the person lesser than 30,000, then you are not supposed to deduct the TDS. If you are going to pay the amount more than 30,000, then you are supposed to deduct the TDS for that party. Okay, so the exemption limit is here is 30,000. So if you pass any transaction to the party whom we are going to specify as a contractor, so that party will not be deducted if the bill amount is lesser than 30,000. If it crosses 30,000 for that financial year, then we are supposed to deduct the TDS for the same. So that we are going to specify in threshold or exemption limit. So the word threshold is nothing but it is the meaning of exemption limit. So make it accept as yes. So this is one type of nature of payment we have created with. The second we will create with rent. So here rent we have two types. So rent of land and building and rent on plant and machinery. So let me create the nature of payment only for the land and building. So the section number is 194I and the payment code it will be 94I. The rate of individuals are HUF with PAN. Here it is 10%. Even for the other categories, other type of person also, other deducted type also, it is 10% is applicable. Then here threshold or exemption limit. So it is as per the income tax department, it says up to April 2019, that is 31st March 2019, it was 1,80,000. That means for the whole financial year, if you are paying the rent, the total sum, if it comes lesser than 1,80,000, then you are not supposed to deduct the TDS for that owner. In case if you are paying more than that for the whole year, then you are supposed to deduct the TDS. But after 1st of April 2019 onwards, it has been increased with the exemption limit value, that is 2,40,000. So if you are paying the whole financial year for more than 2,40,000, then you are supposed to deduct the TDS for the owner. Otherwise, you are not supposed to deduct the TDS. So here, if I'm going to specify it as 2,40,000, then you are not going to get deducted of TDS until and unless your transaction it reaches the value of more than 2,40,000. So I'll not give any exemption limit as of now. Okay. So let's pass the transaction with this. So I've created two nature of payments. One was with rent on the land and building, and another one was payment to contractors. Okay. The next, after creating this, we will go to creation of ledgers. So what are the common ledgers you are supposed to create for the TDS purpose? So I'll just list it out in the chat box. So TDS masters like TDS nature of payments, party, so these are the important ledgers what you are supposed to create it for the TDS concept. So we have finished with TDS nature of payments. So the next part is we are going to create with the party. So let me take it. So if it was contractor, let me take it for example. Uh, so I'll take the name as Sumit Contractor Company. So he comes under the sundry creditors. So whenever you're going to create a party for the TDS purpose, the party will be always the sundry creditors. So that is to whom when we are going to pay. So at that time only we are supposed to deduct the TDS. The next part is maintain balances bill by bill as yes. So we'll make cost center as no. Is TDS deductible will be made as yes. Deductee type. So here I am supposed to select the relevant type of party E belongs to. So when I'm going to specify the party as a company, then I'm supposed to select as company resident or non-resident. Non-resident means so it is from outside the country. So I'll be selecting the party as a company resident. Whether do you want to deduct the TDS in the same voucher? Let me make it as yes. Then confirm with the address, contact details, then give the PAN number. So it is mandatory to specify the PAN number because when you are not going to specify the PAN number for the party, so it will deduct at higher rate. So PAN number if not entered to party, then TDS will deduct at higher rate. So that is at 20%. So even though for this party it has to deduct at 2%, it will be deducted at 20% because in case if I am not going to specify the PAN number to this party. Okay, so it is mandatory to furnish with their PAN number. Okay, so let me take it the PAN number and accept the screen. So there's the first party. I'll create one more person. So let me assume it is a owner of a building. TDS, yes. I'll take this person as an individual HUF resident. Then deduct TDS in same voucher, yes. So I'll also specify with PAN number. And press enter. So in case if the PAN number it is not there in the proper format, so it will say that what is the mistake, but still if you press enter it will ignore it, but it is always suggested you to specify the proper number so that it will not affect in your return filing. So there will be no problem with your return filing. Accept the screen. So I've created two parties, one is for contract basis, one is for the rent purpose. The next ledger it will be the expenses, that is rent expenses. Let me take it as under indirect expenses. I'll make cost center as no because it's not applicable for this. If you want, you can give it no problem, but that will affect to your account, not for your tax. The next, TDS is applicable, yes. Then select with particular relevant nature of payment which is applicable for these expenses. So that is rent of land and building. And accept the screen. Now I'll create one more ledger for contract purchase under purchase account. So I want to show you that how you can be able to deduct the TDS on the expenses and how to deduct the TDS in the purchases. So for that reason, I'm going to create with two different scenarios ledgers. So here also cost centers, I'm going to keep it as no. Is TDS applicable? Yes, applicable. Then I'm going to select with nature of payment as payment to contractor. Accept it. So I've created two party ledgers, one expenses, one purchase ledger. Now I'll be creating here the TDS tax ledger under duties and taxes, TDS. Now we have two different nature of payment. So we have a transactions related to more than one nature of payment in our company. So if you want to select any particular nature of payment, then you are supposed to create a separate TDS tax ledgers for each and every nature of payment. But instead of doing like that, we can create a common nature of payment or the common tax ledger for all the applicable for all the nature of payment. In that case, you are supposed to select it as any. So select as any, cost center as no. Accept it. So hope you people were able to understand that what all the ledgers were supposed to be created with related to TDS. So now next is we will pass the transactions. So let's come to the gateway of Tally. Let's go to the vouchers. So now, which are the voucher types we are going to use it to pass the TDS transactions? Okay, so let's take a 5 minutes of break. Let's come back at 12:42 and we will continue with transactions and the report wise. Thank you for being online. So we shall continue with the session. So we have seen that what are the masters to be created for the TDS related. So now let's see what are the transactions to be created for. So now we have two situations. One is the rent expenses. So whenever you are going to deduct TDS on expenses, need to pass through journal voucher. Direct TDS on expenses need to pass through journal voucher. So if you want to deduct TDS on purchases, then you need to pass deduct TDS on purchase value, need to pass purchase in accounting invoice mode. So these are the two conditions which you should be aware on that. So in what way we can be able to deduct the TDS. So now let's see with first one with deducting the TDS on expenses, that is rent. So we have to press F7. So we can be able to pass the transaction normal journal voucher without taking any voucher class. So now, so the first ledger to be debited with. So always debit with expenses, that is rent expenses. Let's assume it that we are paying a rent of 50,000. Then credit the party to whom we are supposed to pay. So select with that party. So let me take it the owner. So as soon as you select the party ledger, it will ask you to select with the reference types. So here I'm supposed to select the new reference and give the reference name so that it will be easy to you to know that for what purpose you have been used with this reference. So I'll take it as this party there and it is a rent related to the first month. So I'll take this. Now, the total value it has taken the 50,000. Whether we are going to pay this the complete amount 50,000 to them or whether we are paying more or less of the 50,000. Please let me know whether we are going to pay the rent of 50,000 to them or more than 50,000 or lesser than 50,000 to the party. Hope everyone are able to hear me. Is there anyone? Is that my voice is audible to everyone? Can anyone respond to it? Yeah. Okay. So can anyone let me know? Even though answer is wrong, please let me know. At least there should be a participation in the session. So please participate. Okay, let me not drag it. So whenever we are going to pay the rent for that particular party, So we are supposed to pay for that party is with 50,000 example, but we are not going to pay that party with 50,000 because we are going to deduct the TDS at 10%. So for that deduction of TDS, we are going to get another reference. Okay, you can see the total amount as 45,000, which is actually we are going to pay to the owner. Okay, so this second reference it is related to TDS rent, that is Mr. Dev. So you can be able to give any name for your reference and end of list. So now the total amount is become as 45,000. The remaining 5,000 is considered as TDS tax amount. So this is how the transaction should be. So debit with the expenses, credit with the party, and after deduction of the TDS, the remaining amount it will be transferred to TDS tax ledger. Accepted. This is how the TDS will be deducted on the expenses. Now, let's assume it that we are going to have a TDS on the purchases. So how do we pass the transactions? So for that, we can be able to either you can use the same journal voucher, but it is always suggested if you have a purchase, you have to pass the transaction through purchases. So let me go for the purchase transaction, F9, and it should be passed in the accounting invoice. So if I press Control H, I'll confirm that whether I'm there in the accounting invoice or not. I'm there in the accounting invoice. So now select the party. So I'll select the party. Here the party is Sumit, contractor company. Accept the details. Then here I'm going to select with the contract purchase account. So the contract purchase account, it was being enabled with the TDS option, the nature of payment. So I'm going to specify the amount. Let's assume it as 1 lakh. On this 1 lakh, so there will be a TDS deduction of rupees 2000 because 2% on the if the party is considered as a company. If he was an individual or HF resident, then it would have been deducted at 1%. In case if there was no PAN number provided to that party ledger, then it would have been deducted at 20%. Okay, so this is how you are going to deduct the TDS on the purchase entry. So here also it will be two types of reference. So we are going to give it sale. Sorry, it is not sale, it is a purchase. It is contract for Sumit Construction Co. It is the first invoice. Another reference, TDS Construction Co. First TDS. Accepted. So this is how you are going to deduct the TDS for the party in the purchase entry and on the journal entry. So once after passing this transaction, you can be able to check the report. So either you can go to the gateway of Tally display and statutory reports, TDS reports, and there you can be able to check the report, or you can go to the go to option directly in the Tally by pressing Alt G, and you can go to the TDS reports. So let's check it out what all the reports are available. So here you can be able to see two types of forms. One is form 26Q and form 27Q. So form 26Q, which is very important, please make a note on this. So form 26Q, it gives the information related to the residence deductive type transactions. Whereas Form 27Q will talk about non-residence deductive type transactions. So while selecting the deductive type while creating the party ledger, you will be asked company resident or company non-resident, individual HUF resident or non-resident, like that. So if you are selected with resident, then by using that party ledger, what all the TDS transaction is done, it will be shown in 26Q, Form 26Q. Okay. So in case if it is not showing the transaction, even though if it is created with proper creation of ledgers and everything have been given with, if there is one small mistake also, so it will not show the details over here. In such scenario, it will show the transaction information in uncertain transactions. Okay, so here it is showing uncertain transactions of those transactions which have not used the TDS. Okay, so even though you have passed the transactions with relevant to TDS, and but still it is not showing the details over here under the particulars, then you should check it out in the uncertain transactions report. Okay, so but I'm getting all the transactions. I have passed two transactions. One is related to the owner expenses and another one related to the contractor. If you press enter, it will show all the transaction details. So I have got all the transactions relevant to TDS. Okay, so now if I go back to the ALG TDS reports and 27Q, if I go, I'll not find any transactions because I didn't create any party related to the non-resident. Okay, so let me pass one transactions related to non-resident and let's check it out. So quickly we will create it Alt Q. So let me take it as NRI company. Okay, I think I've already have this ledger. Uh, let me create another company, Daimler company, under Sundry Cretas. I'll make the option as yes. I'll use this company non-resident. I'll deduct the TDS in the same voucher and PAN or IT number should be given. Let me give it. And accept the ledger. So let me take the same contract purchases. So let me give the value as 2 lakh. And let me deduct the TDS on the same. So it has been deducted with 4,000. So now let me take the reference. So this is how we are going to create the transaction for the non-resident. Let me go to the ALG, TDS reports, and check whether it is available on 27Q or not. So it is available. So this is how you're going to pass the transactions with the relevant options. If you are enabled with that relevant option, if you are selected with the proper types while creating the ledgers, then only you are be able to get the deduction automatically while passing the transactions. And once it has been created proper transactions deductions, then it will show with the report wise. Okay, so now after deducting all this TDS amount, so whether we can keep it with us? No, it is not possible to keep with us. So we are supposed to make the payment to the government. So when do we make the payment? So TDS will be paid on monthly basis on or before 7th of every next month. So you should be able to pay the TDS amount to the department by the next month 7th. So collect all the things, all the amount in this month. So that will be paid in the next by 7th. Then TDS returns filing. So will be done on quarterly basis. So how many quarters we have it in the financial year? So how many quarters are there in one financial year? Yeah, very good, 4. So let's see what are those quarters. So for first quarter, so you are supposed to pay, do the return filing by the next month, the last date. So same way for all the quarters. So you are supposed to make it by the next month end you are supposed to make the quarterly filing. Okay, so how to do with this? So whether the TDS will be paid normally or with any extra options, we are supposed to use it to make the TDS payment to the government. So let's see how we can be able to do it. So let's go to the gateway of Tally, vouchers. So press F5. So whenever we make the payment related to the tax payment in Tally, use autofill option to pay it through start payment option. So whenever you are making a payment generally to any of the party or towards the expenses, so you can pass it directly. But when you are making the payment entry related to the tax, it could be on any type of tax. So you should use Control F and you should use the option as start payment. So here we are making the start payment related to TDS tax and it is asking for which period you are doing it. So the next one is the end date. So as we are using the educational mode, we will be able to enter with only the first and second for the month, which has the 30 days. So we are going to take it as deducted till date, till what date you have been deducted the TDS. So we will use the last date of this month. And do you want to want to make the payment separately for each sections, or do you want to make it at one shot for all? So we can use the option as all items to select with all the sections. So let's select as all items for each and every option. So I'm going to make the payment related to resident as well as the non-resident in the same payment entry. So whether you are paying through bank or cash, so it is always suggested to use with bank ledger. So whatever the TDS you have been deducted till now, so it will take automatically with this details. So when you going to use the control F autofill and select with the start payment and give the general information related to the tax, automatically all the information will be fetched from the respective forms. Now we can be able to accept the entry. Now you can be able to go and check the report, that is display statutory reports or TDS reports. Then you can go and check it out in the form 26Q. So whether the payment information is there or not. So now it is showing under the uncertain transactions, which should not be shown, because let's check it out in 27Q. At least it is showing over there. Even here also it is showing with uncertain transactions. Why? Because when I'm making the payment to the government, I'm making it through the bank. So there are certain information we are supposed to give it related to the payment through the bank. So we should go to the Challan reconciliation report, and we are supposed to feed up all the information which is blank over here. So if I want to fill up over here, I should use the option called alter R, that is reconcile. So the cursor moves to each and every field on the screen so that I can fill up with necessary information. Okay, so let me give the check number. So let me check what is the check number did I give it in the transaction. So in that case, I'll go to the banking, check register. So the check number is 012345. Okay, so let me go there and feed up with the same check number for all the transactions. Alter R 012345. So it was being paid on second. BSR code number will be minimum 7 digits. So let me give the challan number, challan date. So it will be on the same date. So we have to select with bank. So let me give it the same check number I'm giving it. Challan number is another. So let me give this details and accept the screen. Once you are going to feed up with this proper information, then the challan reconciliation will be empty. So that means everything is imperfect. So now if you go to the form 26Q, So you can be able to see those payment details for which nature of payment at what amount you have been paid with. So it is going to show with the values. Okay. So the same thing you can be able to check it out in Form 27Q also. So it is going to show over here. So whenever you are going to make the payment to the government regarding the TDS, you will not be allowed to make the payment with the normal challan. They will ask you to fill up with the respective challan. So what is the TDS challan type is? So TDS challan type is called as ITNS 281 challan. So how do we print that ITNS TDS challan 281 challan is you have to go for the payment entry, the TDS payment entry you have to go and press Control P and check the print preview. So before that, make sure that you are going to have the option print as TDS challan as yes. So if it is this option is yes, then you can be able to print it as a TDS challan. Otherwise, normal payment entry. In case if it is as no, how do we enable it as yes? Means you can go to the configure option and you can make this option as yes. Okay. So Control A, and now we will check it out how the print preview of this challan will look like. Press Alt Z for zooming. So this is what the challan will look like. Okay, so if it is asked how to print the TDS challan in Tally means, so you have to pass TDS payment entry, and if you take a print of that, it will be printed with the TDS challan part. So scroll down and you can be able to check it out. So this is the form which we are going to use it for TDS payment through the bank. Okay. So hope you were able to understand with the TDS concept. So let's see what are the other reports means. So in case if there is any transactions you have made any changes after doing the return filing, so that information it will be shown on return transaction book. In case if you are deduct the TDS but you are not being paid to the government, so that is TDS outstanding report it will show. Then if you have any ledger without the PAN number, party PAN number is not been given, then it will list out all those party ledgers names. Okay, so by this we are going to end up with TDS concept. Hope you were able to understand this concept. Please practice it and let me know by the next session. So the next session will be on Wednesday morning 8:30. Is that everyone are clear with the concept? Please type it as clear. Okay, fine. So we will end up the session. We'll meet on next Wednesday. Thank you all. Have a nice day.